The alarm bells rang across Earth Defense Command at exactly 14:32 Greenwich Mean Time. Admiral Kim Tai-ho was drinking coffee in his office when the red lights started flashing. He had been waiting for this moment for 5 years. "Sir, we have contact," said Lieutenant Yu Seojin, running into his office. Her face was pale, but her voice stayed steady. "They're big, sir. Really big." Admiral Kim put down his coffee cup and walked to the main command center. The giant screen showed what everyone had feared would come one day. Huge ships hung in space above Earth like dark clouds before a storm. They were not like any human ship. These vessels looked like they were made of crystal and metal twisted together. They glowed with strange purple light. "How many?" Admiral Kim asked. 57 ships, sir," answered Captain Lee Ji-won from her station. "The smallest one is bigger than our largest battleship." Dr. Park Mira hurried over to them. She had been studying alien signals for years. "Admiral, they're trying to talk to us. The message is coming through on all frequencies." "Put it on the main screen," Admiral Kim ordered. The screen changed. A tall figure appeared. It had blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and black. When it spoke, a computer translated its words into human language. "I am High Chancellor Vex Thara of the Galactic Hegemony," the alien said. Its voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Your species has been selected for integration into our empire. You will surrender all military forces immediately. You will accept our governors on all your worlds. Resistance is not permitted," the alien continued talking. "We have absorbed 847 species into our empire. Your integration number is 848. Prepare your leaders for transport to our command ship. You have 1 standard day to comply." The message ended. The command center fell silent. Everyone looked at Admiral Kim. "1 day," Captain Lee said quietly. "They expect us to give up everything in 1 day." Admiral Kim smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "They don't know humans very well, do they?" Dr. Park stepped forward. "Sir, I've been studying their transmission. Their technology is far beyond ours. Those ships could destroy our cities from orbit. We can't fight them with conventional weapons." "Maybe not," Admiral Kim said. "But we're not going to roll over and die either. Get me President Song on the secure line, and activate Ghost Protocol." Captain Lee's eyes went wide. Ghost Protocol was Earth's most secret military plan. Only a few people knew it existed. Within an hour, leaders from every nation on Earth were meeting in the underground bunker beneath the Swiss Alps. President Song Min-ho sat at the head of the table. His hair was gray, but his eyes were sharp and determined. "They want us to surrender," President Song said to the group. "What do you all think we should tell them?" "We should negotiate," said the European Union representative. "Maybe we can keep some independence." "No," said Admiral Kim, standing up. "I've studied every species these aliens have conquered. None of them kept any independence. They all became slaves." Dr. Park activated a hologram in the center of the table. It showed star maps with red dots marking conquered worlds. "The hegemony has a pattern. They arrive with overwhelming force. They demand immediate surrender. If a species says yes, they become workers and soldiers for the empire. If they say no, the hegemony destroys their cities until they change their minds." "So what choice do we have?" asked the African Federation leader. Admiral Kim smiled again. "We have a third option, one they've never seen before." He pressed a button on his tablet. New holograms appeared. They showed human ships hidden in asteroid belts throughout the solar system. They showed weapon platforms built inside the moon. They showed soldiers training in secret bases. "For 5 years we've been preparing for this day," Admiral Kim explained. "When we detected their first probe, we knew they would come eventually. We've been building, planning, and getting ready." "But their technology is so advanced," said the Asian Coalition representative. Dr. Park stepped forward. "Yes, their technology is better than ours. But we've learned something important about the hegemony. They always fight the same way. They use fear and overwhelming force. They've never fought an enemy that adapts and learns." Captain Lee activated another display. "We've studied every battle they've ever fought. They expect enemies to either surrender immediately or fight with conventional tactics. We're going to do neither. Admiral Kim walked around the table. The hegemony thinks we're just another primitive species. They think we'll be scared of their big ships and superior weapons. They're wrong. President Song leaned forward. What exactly are you proposing, Admiral? We tell them no, Admiral Kim said simply. Then we show them what humans do when someone tries to make us slaves. The room fell quiet again. Everyone understood what this meant. War with an empire that controlled almost 1,000 worlds. The odds are not good, admitted Dr. Park, but humans have beaten bad odds before. And if we lose? Asked someone from the back of the room. If we fight and lose, we die as free humans, Captain Lee said. If we surrender, we live as slaves. I know which one I choose. President Song stood up. All in favor of telling the hegemony that Earth will not surrender? Every hand in the room went up. 3 hours later, Admiral Kim stood in front of cameras broadcasting to the entire world. Behind him, the alien ship still hung in Earth's sky like a threat. Citizens of Earth, he began. Today, an alien empire told us to surrender our freedom. They told us to accept slavery. They told us we have no choice. He paused and looked directly into the camera. They're about to learn something important about humans. We always have a choice, and we choose to fight. High above Earth, High Chancellor Vexathera received the human response. She had expected immediate surrender like always. Instead, she got a single-word message that her computers translated perfectly. No. Vexathera stared at the message for a long time. In 800 years of conquest, no species had ever said no to the hegemony. She didn't understand what it meant. She was about to find out. Admiral Kim closed the broadcast and turned to his staff. Gentlemen, ladies, activate all defensive systems, send the signal to our hidden fleets, and somebody get me a fresh cup of coffee. Sir, asked Lieutenant Yu, what happens now? Admiral Kim looked up at the ceiling, thinking about the alien, ships waiting in space above them. Now we show them why you should never corner a human being. They wanted Earth to join their empire. He smiled, and this time, it was a smile full of teeth. Instead, they're about to learn why Earth has no place for empires in our skies. High Chancellor Vexathera could not believe what she was seeing. In 800 years of conquest, no species had ever refused the hegemony's offer. She stared at the single-word message from Earth. No. Impossible, she said to her bridge crew. Run the translation again. Translation confirmed, High Chancellor, replied her communication officer. The humans refused to surrender. Vexathera's 4 arms moved in confusion. Perhaps they do not understand. Send them images of what happens to worlds that resist us. On Earth, the alien message arrived with pictures of destroyed cities and burning planets. The images showed what the hegemony did to species that said no. Admiral Kim watched the pictures with his command staff. They think this will scare us, said Captain Lee Ji-won. She was looking at a picture of a dead world covered in glass where cities used to be. Maybe it should scare us, said Lieutenant Yu Seojin quietly. Dr. Park Mira was studying the images on her computer. Actually, these pictures tell us something important. Look at how they destroyed these cities. They always use the same weapons in the same way. They never change their tactics. Admiral Kim nodded. That's what we're counting on. Colonel Choi, are your people ready? Colonel Choi Dae-sung stepped forward. He was a small man with scars on his hands from years of special operations training. Ghost teams are in position throughout the solar system, sir. Hidden bases on 12 asteroids, weapon platforms inside the moon, and stealth ships waiting in the outer planets. What about the new technology? Admiral Kim asked. Engineer Yoon Hana pulled up holographic displays. She was young but brilliant, the kind of person who saw solutions where others saw problems. The reverse-engineered systems are ready. We've been working on alien technology for 5 years, ever since we found that crashed probe on Mars. The aliens don't know we found their probe, Dr. Park added. They think we're still using primitive human technology. Captain Lee smiled. They're about to get a very big surprise. 3 hours later, The hegemony sent their final message to Earth. High Chancellor Vexithera appeared on every screen, radio, and communication device on the planet. "Humans of Earth," she said, "you have seen what happens to those who defy us. You have one final chance to surrender. If you do not accept our rule in the next hour, we will begin destroying your cities. This is your last warning." The message ended. Earth's leaders had 1 hour to change their minds. They didn't need it. "All units, this is Admiral Kim," he spoke into his communicator. "Operation Free Sky is now active. Show them what humans do when someone threatens our home." In space, the hegemony fleet prepared for orbital bombardment. Their weapons powered up with enough energy to turn entire cities into glass. High Chancellor Vexithera gave the order to fire. That's when Earth's trap was revealed. Captain Lee Jiwan's stealth ship, the Defiance, appeared from behind an asteroid where it had been hiding for weeks. But it wasn't alone. 12 other ships appeared from hiding spots throughout the asteroid belt. They had been invisible to the hegemony's sensors. "How is this possible?" Vexithera demanded. "Our sensors show nothing there." Her science officer was working frantically at his controls. "The humans are using our own stealth technology, but they've improved it somehow. Their ships are completely invisible to us." The human ships moved fast, faster than hegemony vessels. Engineer Yoon Hana's improvements to the alien technology were working perfectly. The human ships could accelerate and turn in ways that should have been impossible. "Target their weapons," Captain Lee ordered. "Don't let them fire on Earth." The Defiance fired its main gun at the closest hegemony ship. The blast hit the alien vessel's weapon array and destroyed it completely. The other human ships followed, each one targeting the weapons on different alien ships. But the real surprise came from Colonel Choi Dae-sung's special teams. "Ghost leader to all units." Colonel Choi spoke into his radio. "Begin boarding operations." Small, human ships launched from hidden bases inside asteroids. They were too small for the hegemony to notice until it was too late. These ships attached themselves to the alien vessels like parasites. "What are those small craft doing?" Vexithera asked. She got her answer when human soldiers began cutting through the hulls of her ships. Colonel Choi's men had trained for this moment for years. They wore special suits that let them survive in space and carry weapons designed to work inside alien ships. The hegemony had never faced enemies who would board their vessels during battle. It was considered impossible by civilized species. But humans weren't like other species. "They're inside our ships," shouted the hegemony commander. "How do we fight enemies inside our own vessels?" The answer was, they couldn't. The hegemony had designed their ships to fight other fleets in space, not soldiers running through their corridors with human weapons. Pilot Han Kyung-soo flew his small fighter through the enemy formation like a dancer through a crowd. His ship was built using both human and alien technology, making it faster and more maneuverable than anything the hegemony had ever seen. "This is Falcon Leader," Han spoke to his squadron. "Their big ships can't hit us if we stay close to them. Use their size against them." The human fighters swarmed around the massive alien vessels like angry insects. Every time a hegemony ship tried to fire its main weapons, a human fighter would destroy the weapon before it could shoot. But the biggest shock came from engineer Yoon Hana's secret project. "Admiral, the quantum disruptor is ready," she reported to Admiral Kim. "Do it," he ordered. High above Earth, something impossible happened. The quantum field that held the hegemony fleet together began to break apart. One by one, the alien ships lost power as their most advanced systems failed. "What's happening to our ships?" Vexithera demanded. Her science officer looked terrified. "The humans have found a way to disrupt our quantum cores. This should be impossible with their technology level." "Then how are they doing it?" she shouted. Dr. Park Mira answered that question from her laboratory on Earth. She was speaking to Admiral Kim through a secure channel. "We've been studying their quantum communications for 5 years," she explained. "Every message they send uses the same quantum frequency. We built a device that can jam that frequency. Without quantum power, their ships are just big metal boxes floating in space." One by one, the mighty hegemony warships went dark. Their weapons stopped working, their shields failed, their engines died. Colonel Choi's voice came through the radio. "Admiral, we've taken control of 3 enemy ships. Their crews surrendered when they realized they couldn't fight us in close combat." Captain Lee reported next. "Sir, the remaining enemy ships are trying to retreat, but their engines aren't working. They're trapped," Pilot Han added. "All enemy weapons are destroyed or offline. Earth is safe." High Chancellor Vexithara sat in her command chair, surrounded by darkness. Her mighty fleet, which had conquered hundreds of worlds, had been defeated by a single planet in less than 6 hours. "This cannot be happening," she whispered. But it was happening. For the first time in their history, the Galactic hegemony had met an enemy they couldn't defeat. An enemy that fought with tactics they'd never seen before. An enemy that turned their own technology against them. Admiral Kim's voice came through the communication system of every disabled hegemony ship. "High Chancellor Vexithara," he said calmly. "This is Admiral Kim Tae-ho of the Earth Defense Forces. Your fleet is defeated. Your weapons are destroyed. Your ships are powerless. You have 2 choices." Vexithara listened in shock. "You can surrender, and we will treat you according to the laws of war," Admiral Kim continued. "Or you can try to call for reinforcements, and we will show you what else humans have prepared for uninvited guests." The High Chancellor looked around her dark bridge. Her crew was looking at her with fear in their eyes. They had thought they were invincible. They had learned they were wrong. "What do you want?" she asked quietly. Admiral Kim's answer was simple. "We want you to leave our sky and never come back, and we want you to tell your empire something important." "What?" Vexithara whispered. "Tell them that Earth belongs to humans. Tell them that we don't kneel to empires. And tell them that if they ever threaten our world again, we'll do more than just defend ourselves." The High Chancellor felt a chill run through her body. "What do you mean?" Admiral Kim's voice carried a promise that made her afraid. "Next time we'll come to them." 3 months had passed since the hegemony's defeat at Earth. High Chancellor Vexithara thought the humans would let her go after their victory. She was wrong. The humans kept the entire hegemony fleet as prisoners in Earth's orbit. Worse, they were studying every ship, learning every secret, and copying every piece of technology. Dr. Park Mira visited the alien ships daily, asking questions that made Vexithara very uncomfortable. "Your quantum drives are interesting," Dr. Park said during one visit, "but we've made them work better. Want to see?" Vexithara did not want to see, but she had no choice. The humans showed her engines that were faster than anything the hegemony had ever built. They had taken alien technology and improved it in ways that seemed impossible. "How?" Vexithara asked weakly. "We asked, what if and why not?" Dr. Park smiled. "Your people only ask, how has it always been done?" On Earth's, Moon Commander Nam Jisoo was building something the galaxy had never seen before. Luna Base was becoming the most powerful fortress in the solar system. Every crater was filled with weapons. Every underground tunnel was packed with soldiers and supplies. "The moon is no longer just Earth's satellite," Commander Nam reported to Admiral Kim. "It's now Earth's castle. No enemy fleet will ever reach our planet again." The lunar defense grid had grown beyond anyone's expectations. Railguns that could shoot across the solar system, missile launchers that could fire 1,000 rockets at once, shield generators that could protect the entire Earth-Moon system. But the real surprise was hidden in the asteroid belt. Captain O. Zuman was testing humanity's first faster-than-light ship. The Pioneer was built using captured hegemony technology, but with human improvements that made it better than any alien vessel. "FTL drive online," Captain O reported. "We're ready for our first jump outside the solar system." Admiral Kim gave the order, "Take us to Alpha Centauri, it's time to see what's out there." The Pioneer disappeared in a flash of blue light. When it reappeared near Alpha Centauri, Captain O made a discovery that changed everything. "Admiral," she reported over the quantum radio, "you need to see this. There's a hegemony outpost here. And they're not alone." The images Captain O sent back showed alien prisoners working in mines on a dead planet. Hundreds of different species, all slaves of the hegemony. They looked sick, tired, and hopeless. "How long have they been slaves?" Admiral Kim asked. "According to their records," Captain O replied, "some of these species have been prisoners for over 200 years. That's when Admiral Kim made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. "Captain O, you are authorized to free those prisoners." "Sir?" Captain O wasn't sure she heard correctly. "You heard me. Free them. All of them." The Pioneer attacked the hegemony outpost with weapons the aliens had never seen before. Human plasma cannons that could punch through any shield. Kinetic weapons that moved faster than light. Electronic warfare systems that turned the enemy's computers against them. The hegemony guards never had a chance. Within 6 hours, Captain O had freed over 10,000 alien prisoners. They couldn't believe what was happening. "You're not hegemony," said one alien, a creature that looked like a giant butterfly with 6 arms. "Who are you?" "We're humans from Earth," Captain O replied, "and we're here to set you free." The butterfly alien started crying. "Free? We haven't been free in over 50 years. You are now," Captain O said firmly. Word of the prison break spread quickly through the hegemony's quantum communication network. On dozens of worlds, alien slaves heard the impossible news. Someone was fighting the hegemony and winning. Scientist Ryu Dong-yun had discovered something amazing about the hegemony's communication system. Every message they sent could be intercepted and changed by human computers. "We can send messages to every hegemony world at the same time," Ryu explained to Admiral Kim. "We can tell all their slaves what's happening." "Do it," Admiral Kim ordered. The message went out across the galaxy. "This is Earth calling all enslaved peoples. The hegemony can be defeated. We have proven it. Rise up. Fight back. You are not alone." The results were immediate and devastating for the hegemony. On Kepler 442b, a species of rock-like beings called the Thranks stopped working in the hegemony's crystal mines. They had been slaves for 300 years, but the human message gave them hope. "The small beings from the blue world have defeated the hegemony fleet," the Thranks leaders told their people. "If they can fight, so can we." The Thranks rebellion began with a simple act. They refused to work. When hegemony guards tried to force them, the Thranks used their natural rock armor to resist. The guards' weapons couldn't hurt beings made of living stone. On Gliese 667cc, a species of plant-like creatures called the Verdani heard the human message through their root networks that covered the entire planet. They had been forced to grow food for the hegemony for over a century. "The humans have shown us the way," the Verdani elders decided. "We will grow no more food for our oppressors." The Verdani stopped producing food for the hegemony. When the aliens tried to force them, the Verdani released toxins into the air that made it impossible for hegemony forces to stay on the planet. On Ross 128b, a species of aquatic beings called the pelagics had been forced to provide water and rare minerals from their ocean world. When they heard about Earth's victory, they decided to act. The pelagics used their control over water to flood hegemony bases. They created whirlpools that swallowed alien ships. They made tsunamis that washed away hegemony installations. Within weeks, rebellions were happening on 40 different worlds. Back on Earth, Admiral Kim was getting reports from all over the galaxy. Each report brought news of another successful rebellion. "Sir," said Lieutenant Yu, "we're getting requests for help from over 100 enslaved species. They want human weapons, human advisors, and human ships." Admiral Kim looked at the star maps showing rebellion worlds marked in green. The hegemony's territory was shrinking fast. "How many ships do we have ready for combat?" he asked. Engineer Yoon Hana answered. 37 ships using improved alien technology, all faster and better armed than anything the hegemony has. "And how many hegemony ships have we captured and converted?" Admiral Kim continued. Captain Lee Jiwon checked her reports. 83 captured ships, all now operated by human crews with human modifications. Admiral Kim smiled. "Then it's time to take this war to them. Commander Nam, is Luna Base ready to defend Earth without our fleet?" Commander Nam nodded. Sir, Luna Base could fight off 10 times the force that originally attacked us. Earth is safe. Good, Admiral Kim said, because we're not staying home anymore. He activated the communication system that could reach every human ship in the solar system. All ships, this is Admiral Kim. For months, we've been defending our home. Now it's time to do something else. It's time to free the galaxy. Captain, O's voice came from the pioneer at Alpha Centauri. Admiral, we're ready to show the hegemony what happens when you make humans angry. Pilot Han Kyung-soo reported from his fighter squadron. Sir, we've been practicing with the new FTL fighters. We can hit targets anywhere in the galaxy. Colonel Choi Daesung added, My special forces teams are ready to board and capture any ship in the hegemony fleet. Admiral Kim looked at the holographic display showing the entire galaxy. Red dots marked hegemony worlds. Green dots showed rebel worlds. And blue dots showed where human ships were heading. The hegemony wanted to add Earth to their empire, Admiral Kim said. Instead, they're about to lose their entire empire to Earth. He gave the order that would change galactic history. All ships jump to assigned targets, begin liberation operations, show the galaxy what humans do to bullies. One by one, human ships disappeared in flashes of blue light, heading to battles across the galaxy. High Chancellor Vexathara, still prisoner on her disabled ship, watched the human fleet leave Earth's orbit. She realized with growing horror what was about to happen. The humans weren't just defending their world anymore. They were going on the attack. What have we done? She whispered to herself. What have we awakened? 6 months after Earth's fleet left to liberate the galaxy, the hegemony was falling apart faster than anyone had imagined possible. Admiral Baek Seung-wan commanded the human liberation fleet from his flagship, the Freedom. He stood on the bridge, watching another hegemony world surrender without a fight. That's the 15th world this week, reported his communications officer. The hegemony forces are abandoning their posts before we even arrive. Admiral Bayek nodded. The pattern was always the same now. Human ships would appear in a star system. The local alien slaves would rise up in rebellion, and the hegemony forces would either surrender or run away. Sir, said Captain Park Sujin from her ship, the Liberation, we're getting a message from the Zephyrian homeworld. They want to join the Free Worlds Alliance. The Zephyrians were a bird-like species that had been enslaved for over 400 years. When humans freed their world 3 months ago, they had cried tears of joy. Now they wanted to fight alongside Earth against their former masters. Tell them welcome to the Alliance, Admiral Baek replied, and ask if they want to help us free the Centauri sector. Meanwhile, on Earth, diplomat Kim Yoon-ji was hosting the first meeting of the Free Worlds Council. Representatives from 67 different species sat in the Great Hall that humans had built specifically for this purpose. The Thranx delegate, a being made of living crystal, spoke first. The humans have given us something we thought lost. Forever. Hope. We pledge our mining ships to the Liberation Fleet. The Verdani representative, a walking tree-like creature, added, Our worlds will grow food and medicine for all free peoples. No one will go hungry while we have soil to plant. The Pelagic sent their message through a water tank that allowed them to attend the meeting. Our oceans are open to all who seek freedom. Our ships will carry supplies to any world that needs them. Diplomat Kim Yoon-ji smiled as she listened. To each species pledged support for the growing alliance. Together we are stronger than any empire, she told them. The hegemony ruled through fear. We will build something better through cooperation. But not everyone was celebrating. General Lee Min-suk was studying reports from the front lines of the war, and what he saw worried him. The hegemony was retreating, but they were retreating towards something. They're not running away randomly, he explained to Admiral Kim Tae-ho during their secure video call. They're falling back to their core worlds in the Galactic Center. They're planning something. Admiral Kim looked at the star charts General Lee was showing him. A last stand? Maybe, General Lee replied. Or maybe they're preparing a superweapon. We know they've been building something big in the Sagittarius core for decades. Dr. Park Mira, who was still studying captured hegemony technology, joined the conversation. I've been analyzing their quantum communication logs. They keep mentioning something called the final protocol. Every time they lose a world, they send a message about it to the Galactic core. What do you think it is? Admiral Kim asked. I don't know, Dr. Park admitted. But whatever it is, they think it will end the war in their favor. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Bayek's fleet was approaching the hegemony stronghold world of Nexus Prime. This was where the hegemony had built their largest military base outside the Galactic core. Sensor readings show massive defenses, reported Captain Park Sujin. Energy shields, orbital platforms, and over 200 ships. Admiral Bayek studied the tactical display. Nexus Prime was supposed to be impossible to attack. The hegemony had spent centuries making it the strongest fortress in their empire. They're about to learn that impossible is just another word humans don't understand, Admiral Bayek said. Begin the attack. The battle for Nexus Prime was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships moved in formations that seemed random, but were actually carefully planned. They used the asteroids around the planet as cover and weapons, turning space rocks into massive bullets. The hegemony defenders fought desperately, but they were using old tactics against an enemy that constantly changed strategies. Every time they thought they understood how humans fought, the humans did something completely different. Captain Park Sujin led a squadron of fighters in a dive toward the planet's surface. All units, remember the plan. We're not here to destroy the world. We're here to free the people on it. The human fighters dodged through the orbital defenses like dancers avoiding obstacles. They targeted only military installations, leaving civilian areas untouched. This confused the hegemony commanders, who had expected the humans to destroy everything like a normal conquering army. Down on the planet's surface, the enslaved populations heard the sounds of battle above them. Then they heard something impossible. Human voices speaking in their languages. This is Captain Park Sujin of the Earth Liberation Fleet. Her voice came through every communication device on the planet. Stay in your homes. We are here to free you, not to conquer you. Your chains. And today, the battle lasted 18 hours. When it was over, Nexus Prime was free, and the hegemony had lost their most important military base. But the victory came with a price. Admiral, reported Captain Park, we're detecting massive energy readings from the Galactic core. Something big is powering up. Admiral Bayek felt a chill run down his spine. The final protocol? It has to be, Captain Park replied. Whatever the hegemony has been building, they're getting ready to use it. Back on Earth, emergency meetings were being held in every government building. The news from the Galactic core was not good. Our long-range sensors are detecting energy levels unlike anything we've ever seen, reported scientist Ryu Donghyun. It's centered on the hegemony capital world in the Sagittarius core. President Song Minho looked tired. The war had aged him, but his determination remained strong. What kind of weapon could generate that much energy? We don't know, Ryu admitted. But based on the power readings, it could destroy entire solar systems. General Lee Min-seok stepped forward. Sir, I recommend we recall all our fleets immediately. If the hegemony has a superweapon, we need to protect Earth and our allies. No, said Admiral Kim Tae-ho firmly. If we retreat now, every species we've freed will become slaves again. We finish what we started. But if they have a planet killer, a weapon, General Lee began, then we make sure they don't get to use it, Admiral Kim interrupted. We've come too far to give up now. He turned to the assembled leaders. The hegemony made one mistake after another in this war. They underestimated human determination. They underestimated human creativity. And they underestimated human willingness to fight for others' freedom. Admiral Kim activated the communication system that could reach every human ship in the galaxy. All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Kim Tae-ho. The enemy is preparing their final move. They think one big weapon will win the war for them. They're wrong. His voice carried across the galaxy to Admiral Bayek's fleet, to Captain O's scouts, to Colonel Choi's special forces, and to every human ship fighting for galactic freedom. We didn't come this far to watch the galaxy return to slavery. We didn't free hundreds of worlds just to see them conquered again. The hegemony wants to end this war with fear and destruction." Admiral Kim paused, thinking about all the alien species now depending on human protection. They're about to learn that humans don't scare easily. All fleets prepare for final assault on the galactic core. It's time to finish what they started when they came to our sky. High Chancellor Vexithera, still imprisoned on her ship above Earth, listened to the human war preparations with growing terror. She knew what the final protocol was. She knew what her people were preparing to unleash. "They don't understand," she whispered to her guards. "The final protocol will destroy everything, even us." But the humans weren't listening to her warnings anymore. They had made their choice. The final battle for the galaxy was about to begin. The final battle began at the edge of the Sagittarius core, where the hegemony had built their ultimate fortress around a massive black hole. The energy from the black hole powered their final protocol weapon, a device that could destroy entire star systems. Admiral Baek led the combined human and alien liberation fleet toward the hegemony capital. Over 3,000 ships from 60 different species flew together under Earth's banner. "Energy readings are off the charts," reported Captain Park Sujin from the Liberation. "That weapon could destroy half the galaxy if they fire it." "Then, we make sure they don't get the chance," Admiral Beck replied. The hegemony's final fleet was waiting for them. 5,000 ships, the largest force they had ever assembled. At the center was their capital ship, Eternal Dominion, where the hegemony, High Council waited with their ultimate weapon. "This is High Counselor Zaxthul of the Galactic Hegemony," came the transmission to the human fleet. "You have destroyed our empire, but you will not escape justice. The final protocol will cleanse the galaxy of your rebellion." Admiral Kim Taiho's voice answered from Earth, transmitted across the galaxy. "This is Admiral Kim Taiho of Earth. We came in peace. You brought war. We offered friendship. You demanded slavery. Now face the consequences." The battle began with the largest space engagement in galactic history. Human ships moved like a swarm of angry insects around the massive hegemony vessels. The aliens had bigger ships and more powerful weapons, but humans had something better: the ability to work together with dozens of different species. Thrank's crystal ships formed shield walls to protect smaller vessels. Verdani bioships grew new armor as fast as enemy weapons could damage them. Pelagic waterships created ice barriers in space that confused hegemony targeting systems. But the real genius was in the human strategy. Fleet Admiral Park Jinwoo had been planning this battle for months. Instead of trying to destroy the hegemony fleet, the humans had a different goal: capture the final protocol weapon. "All stealth teams, begin insertion," ordered Colonel Choi Daesung. Invisible to hegemony sensors, hundreds of small human ships carried Special Forces soldiers directly into the enemy capital ship. These soldiers had trained for one mission: disable the superweapon from inside. The hegemony defenders had never faced an enemy that would board a ship during the middle of a massive space battle. It was considered impossible by any sane military doctrine, but humans weren't concerned with what was considered sane. Colonel Choi led his team through the corridors of the Eternal Dominion like ghosts in the night. They moved through ventilation shafts, maintenance tunnels, and service corridors that the hegemony had never expected to defend. "Target is 3 levels down," reported Sergeant Kim Minji. "Heavy resistance expected." "When has that ever stopped us?" Colonel Choi smiled. Meanwhile, engineer Yoon Hana was working on her own secret project aboard the human flagship. She had spent months studying the final protocol's energy signatures, and she had discovered something important. "Admiral," she reported to Admiral Baek, "I can reverse the weapon's polarity. Instead of destroying solar systems, we can use it to power terraforming equipment for damaged worlds." "Can you do it remotely?" Admiral Beck asked. "If Colonel Choi's team can get me access to their central computer, yes." The battle raged around them as human special forces fought their way toward the heart of the hegemony's ultimate weapon. The key, final protocol was charging up, gathering energy from the black hole to fire a shot that would destroy the entire human fleet. "Weapon charging at 60%, reported the hegemony weapon operator. 70%. 80%. That's when Colonel Choi's team reached the weapon control room. "This is Ghost Leader." Colonel Choi spoke into his radio while his soldiers fought hegemony guards in the corridor outside. "We're at the target. Engineer Yoon, you're up." Engineer Yoon Hana's fingers flew over her computer as she hacked into the hegemony's most secure systems. "Got it. Reversing polarity now." 90% charge, reported the hegemony operator. "Fire," ordered High Counselor Zax Thule. The final protocol fired with enough energy to destroy 1,000 worlds. But instead of a weapon of destruction, it became something else entirely. The energy beam spread out from the weapon and touched every damaged world in the galaxy. Planets that had been strip-mined by the hegemony suddenly bloomed with new life. Oceans returned to dead worlds, forests grew on barren moons. "What have you done?" Zax Thule screamed. Engineer Yoon Hana's voice came through the hegemony ship's communication system. "We turned your weapon of death into a tool of life. That's what humans do. We build instead of destroy." The psychological effect on the hegemony fleet was immediate. Their ultimate weapon had been turned against everything they represented. Instead of destroying their enemies, it had healed the galaxy. One by one, hegemony ships began to surrender. "This is Captain Veltar of the Iron Fist," came a transmission. "We surrender to the human fleet. We cannot fight an enemy that turns death into life." "This is Commander Kixnell of the Star Crusher. We lay down our arms. The war is over." High Counselor Zax Thule watched his empire crumble around him. In less than 2 years, the humans had destroyed a galactic empire that had lasted for over 1,000 years. "How?" he whispered. Admiral Beck answered him directly. "You ruled through fear. We fight for hope. You conquered through strength. We win through cooperation. You thought bigger weapons would always win. We proved that better ideas beat bigger guns." 6 months later, President Song Minho stood before the first Galactic Assembly, held in orbit around Earth. Representatives from over 800 species filled the Great Hall. Former slaves, former rulers, and newly contacted civilizations. "Today, we establish the Free Worlds Alliance," President Song announced. "No species will rule over another. No empire will enslave free peoples. And no world will stand alone against those who would take their freedom." Ambassador Lee Yunga read the charter that would govern the new galactic civilization. "We hold these truths to be universal, that all sentient beings are created equal, that they have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of their own destiny." Fleet Admiral Park Jin-woo established the new Galactic Defense Force. "Earth will not rule the galaxy, but we will protect it. Any species that threatens the freedom of others will face the combined might of all free worlds." High Chancellor Vexithera, now serving as a reformed governor of her homeworld, addressed the assembly. "My people made a terrible mistake. We believed that because we had advanced technology, we were superior beings. We thought conquest made us strong." She looked directly at the human delegation. "The humans taught us that true strength comes from lifting others up, not putting them down. They showed us that the greatest technology is compassion, and the most powerful weapon is hope." The assembly voted unanimously to adopt the Terran doctrine. Earth would not seek to rule other worlds, but neither would it tolerate the enslavement of any sentient species anywhere in the galaxy. As the first Galactic Assembly concluded, Admiral Kim Tae-ho stood on the observation deck of Luna Base looking up at the stars. Captain Lee Ji-won joined him. "Do you think we did the right thing?" she asked. Admiral Kim smiled. "When that first hegemony ship appeared in our sky, they gave us a choice, surrender or die. We chose a third option." "What was that?" "We chose to live free and make sure everyone else could too." Above them, human patrol ships moved through the solar system alongside vessels from dozens of other species. The galaxy was at peace for the first time in over 1,000 years. Dr. Park Mira's final report on the war was simple. The hegemony made one fatal mistake. They assumed that all species would react to threats the same way. They never considered that humans don't just fight for survival. We fight for principles. Engineer Yoon Hana had the last word in her technical analysis. They had better technology, more ships, and superior weapons. But they forgot the most important rule of warfare. The side that fights for something bigger than themselves always has the advantage. The galactic hegemony was gone. In its place stood something the galaxy had never seen before. A truly free civilization where every species had an equal voice and every world could choose its own destiny. And at the center of it all was a small, blue planet whose people had refused to kneel, even when the entire galaxy told them they had no choice. Earth had declared that galactic empires had no place in Terran skies. The galaxy had learned that when humans make a declaration, they mean it.